So today I'm going to be discussing about the college admissions process, so you can understand what is required and then take advantage of all the changes that is happening, and also talk about research opportunities and what type of research opportunities, and all those details as well will be covered. So let's get started. So I will be talking more about the holistic review. And the more you understand what is happening and what is holistic review, then you will understand that it is for your benefit. And all the changes that is happening, if you understand the reason and what they're looking for in those changes, then you will also see how to take advantage of all of those changes as well. So here are the areas that I'll be covering today: holistic review, everything that constitutes academic excellence, about the standardized testings, how to demonstrate your intellectual vitality. So this is a very key portion, where that connects the academic side and the non-academic side, and everything about you. Okay, so intellectual vitality plays a huge role, and I want to explain that as well. And in that, research will be included. So what types of research is important, all of those things, and what is impressive will be covered. What do colleges expect from extracurricular activities? And we'll end with what is a good time to start and open up for Q&A. So let's understand what is holistic review. As I said, holistic review is everything in your application. All sections of the application matters. It's one section does not outweigh another section. Okay. So before they make a decision, all sections will be reviewed before they make a decision. It's not a single attribute that carries more weight. So remember that they do not make a decision until they read the entire application. So the full context of the application, the essays, including everything, will be taken into consideration. And the consideration about the applicant, if they had any challenges, hardships, unusual circumstances, any other contextual factors such as their background, socioeconomic status, all of those things will also be taken into consideration. So you see system here in California for the past 27 years. There was no they weren't taking race, ethnicity, gender, and religion into this. It will be grayed out for the admissions office, so it wasn't considered. Now with everybody else, the rest of the country following this now, so you can see in California they were already practicing taking out the race, ethnicity, gender, and religion out of their admission selections process. Okay. So they will be looking into everything, including your interest, motivation, talents, skills, what you can contribute to the campus. All of those things will be taken into account. So now let's go into that is what context means, that the entire application will be taken into account. And so now I will be going over each of the sections of the applications, okay, in detail. No two students can be the same, and you will understand that when we go over all of these things, you will see how you can stand out. Okay. Now let's look into academic excellence. What constitutes everything that comes under this academic category? So it is not just the GPA. Okay. So it is not just a number. So there is more than that. So what constitutes behind those GPA also matters. Have you challenged yourself, or did you go beyond just even from the school system as well? So there are so many areas within the academic category itself, and I will go over each of those, all of those things that constitutes academic excellence. So some of the areas where you will be submitting the transcripts, right? So Here are the things where your main school, right, wherever you are now before applying to the college. So that transcript will go to the college. So that is school, I'm calling it primary. So if you have moved schools, from in these 4 years, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, then some of those, the past schools will be rolled over to your current school and that will be submitted. So even if you have changed school, I'm calling all of those as a primary. So this is where the cumulative GPA, is reported. Okay, and all the courses that you have taken at school is reported. So within the school, you are allowed to take honors courses and AP courses that will add weight to the course. So this shows college readiness if you're challenging yourself. Okay, so normally if you don't take any honors courses or AP courses, the GPA maximum you could go is 4.0. But if you take college courses like the prep courses, AP courses, or honors weighted courses, not all honors courses are weighted, even though your school might call honors. Usually it is from the 11th grade courses, junior courses and above are weighted. So check if the honors, but the honors courses and the lower grades kind of preps you so that when you get to this junior year courses, you are capable of taking that load. It's like you're building your stamina to take that load, so you don't have to shy away from taking honors courses even at the lower grades. Okay, just because it's not weighted, but you can weigh it out and see what is right for you. I will be going over the AP courses more in detail shortly, how many you can take and why, and all those things will be covered. So these courses get rolled out. When you take these advanced courses, weighted courses, then your GPA can go up to a maximum of 5.0. So that is what is a weighted and unweighted GPA means. Okay. So weighted is you can go up to 5.0, unweighted is 4.0 without any honors or AP courses. So there are students, sometimes you request a course at your school and you don't get it, but you want to take some courses. Then there are additional, many students are opting for this. They can do in the online high schools. In the college application, though your school may not roll that into their transcript, additional high schools, all the high schools that you attended and the transcripts from those schools can be submitted in the college application. Okay. And so separate transcripts will go to the colleges. Here you could go for, advanced courses. Usually students take AP courses, that is not being offered at school, or they didn't get in, or they want to do it before their school is, allowing them to take. So whatever your reason is, there are options that you could take some courses outside as well, and um, report that in the college application, even though your school may not roll it over. Then there are another category within the academic um, history section, colleges attended while in high school. So all these early college or dual enrollment programs in community colleges, or courses taken at any accredited university, can go here. So again, even if your school is not rolling over the transcript into their the course into their transcript, these things will be reported separately and separate transcripts will be sent to the college. So remember that the colleges attended while in high school, it's if you think that randomly you can go take some courses without any reason, then anyway you're going to go to college to study, so why would you take a college course while in high school? So it all has to fall into place based on your story. who are you? Why do you want to go and take that now earlier? So keep that in mind, and we'll come to that more in connection with the intellectual vitality. So randomly, just because your friend took a course, you don't go and enroll. It might have made sense for them, but it may not make sense for you. So you have to think, what courses that you want to take ahead. There are up to five academic awards can be reported in the college application. So along the way, it is not only just the GPA at school. You have to look into how could you apply that knowledge. Okay, apply that knowledge and gain some recognitions. So where can you build more on certain areas, and how do you get some recognitions from it? And the recognitions in the college applications will be reported as local, state, regional, national, or international levels. And obviously, the higher the level, it goes into the international, the more weight it carries. Local schools also, they do give recognitions like honor roll and those kind of things. If you don't have any academic recognitions to report, then a local recognition might sound good. But if you have upper level recognitions, then there's no need to report the local. So only five can be reported. So recommendation letters from teachers, two teachers and a counselor is important. And remember, school rank matters. Even though your school does not rank you like, 1, 2, 3, okay, like that. In public schools, there are hundreds of students. So out of, it's not, they're not going to rank 1, 2, 3, but they could still be percentiles mentioned. So it's very easy for anybody to say your GPA and certain percentile, they will report this is the 90th percentile, like that, for your batch. Then it's very easy to compare to see, are you above that or you below that, like that. So ranking matters. Many universities, they do guarantee, admissions into their system. Like UCs have this ELC program, eligibility in the local context. That means a 9% of the top in your school. Again, you're compared with only your school. Even though, as I said, the school does not rank. When everybody from your school, they submit the application, here the UC system ranks you. Okay, and they will guarantee in one of, they have 9 campuses. In one of the 9 campuses, these students will be admitted. Cannot accommodate everybody in one campus, so they have to distribute it in all the among the 9 campuses. So you don't have a say which campus, it's guaranteed. So in one of the 9 campuses, definitely the top 9% will get accepted. So like this, other states like Texas and Florida also has. So Texas has like the top 10%. Except UT Austin, they don't look into this type of ranking. They don't guarantee based on the school ranking. But otherwise, the top 10% is accepted. So in Florida, there is a talented 20. So the top 20 only from the public schools. Okay. Whereas in California, if even private school is within that ELC program, then they are considered under that guarantee, a top 9 guarantee as well. So there are schools that, local states, they do guarantee some based on the ranking here. Okay. So you can also look into the honors. Let's go into the honors and awards. What constitutes the honors? PSAT taken in the junior year is called the NMSQT, National Merit Scholar Qualifying Test. And you can see here, this test is taken by, last year, it was about 1.5 million students took that. It did reduce from 1.75 to 1.5. So the trend is kind of declining for the PSAT as well. So out of that 50,000 from your batch, right? So whatever the top 50% will be cut off. And from that 50,000, it is divided into 34,000 plus 16,000. The 34,000 will receive a letter of commendation, and 16,000 from that will be named as semi-finalist. So your test takes you up to semi-finalist. Now these semi-finalists are then asked to submit a form. And in that form, you can see here, so there will be a recommendation from your school and information about your other activities, your leadership, your community contributions, all of that will go in that application. So you can see education takes you, the test takes you up to the semifinals. Beyond that, there is no test. It is based on the form, and the recommendation letters is what takes you beyond a certain point. So which is why the other activities are extremely important if you want to really stand out, okay, to set you apart. It is not just the tests and the marks. So from the forms, 15,000, again, 1,000 is dropped there. 15,000 are named as finalists. And from that finalists, 7,250 only are named as winners. And with other corporate sponsored scholarships and college sponsored scholarships, there's a total of 8,050 students receive the National Merit Scholarship. Okay, so keep this in mind. Is this for you? Is something that you need to determine. Do you want to go through? Do you think that you will be able to qualify within the top 50,000? Then you can go for it. So again, these things go in the awards and recognition, and you can see if that is something that you want to do. And this is a national level, right? So there are other, as I said, other awards. There's a higher level international also. So if you can go through other way, your strengths, where if you have a strength in some other thing and you're able to go take another competition and go, then that and you think that you can win in that, then go for that instead of this. So it's not like, this is the only approach. You need to decide which one works best for you. So the tests taken at the 8th and 9th and the PSAT 10, those are just practice. Nobody is going to look at it, okay? So you can gauge yourself, is that something that you want to pursue in 11th grade or not? So go ahead and take the PSAT 8, 9, and 10 and see if that's something that you want to pursue or not. So what are the other awards? Okay, so the AP scholars, right? There are AP, when you take a AP subject, there are three things that come out of that. So in the school, when you're taking an AP course, because of the curriculum is at a college level, you do get weight. It's a weighted course. Okay, so during the school year, for all your quizzes and tests and the grades that you're getting at school, you do get a weight from that. So that is one advantage. The second thing is you will go and take the College Board exam at the end. So for students signed up for an AP course at school, it's not mandatory to go and take the AP College Board exam, but there is an advantage of taking it. If you have prepared, studied the curriculum for 1 year, why not take the final exam from the College Board, right? So if you take the College Board exam, and if you score 3 and above, right? So 3 is like a pass. It's on the scale of 5. 3 is like a pass, and 4 and 5 are above that. So you can see there are, these are the awards given by the College Board automatically once you reach these criterias. So College Board itself in May 2021, they had removed the one of the award National AP Scholar, which required eight or more subjects. So in the past, before 2021, yes, students were piling up on taking a lot of AP exams. Now you know that even College Board wanted to reduce the burden on students taking the number of AP exams. So by 11th grade is what you're aiming for before you apply for the college, because right after 11th grade is when the college admission starts, process starts. So you can aim for achieving these awards, and the maximum in US you can go is the AP scholar with distinction, and that requires 5 or more. Okay. And so based on this, you can plan how many AP exams do you want and which award you're aiming for. So because there is another category, as I showed you, colleges attended while in high school. So you can see that, the shift is moving towards taking, if you are capable of taking college courses, you don't have to be confined to just these AP courses. You can see it does not cover all the pathways that you want to explore. But whereas if you're able to take in the proper college itself, then you can even try out some of the courses in line with your major. So that is a huge advantage, and that shift is happening. So you don't have to pile up on AP courses beyond these recognitions, in my opinion. Instead, you can put that time in taking college courses while in high school so that you can explore some of the fields and gain knowledge. And then these courses, you also get college credit. Okay. So now let's look into some of the awards, right? So awards that you can report up to 5 awards, and local, state, regional, national, international level is what they are looking for. If you are taking the PSAT in the 11th grade, then what can be reported here is only if you fall under that top 50%, 50,000, right? So you should have either received a letter of commendation or be named a semi-finalist, finalist, or winner. Only these can be reported. And then AP awards, here are the 3 awards. Only these can be reported. So if you feel like you have other strengths in other areas, whether it is in art or languages or science and math, technology, business, there are so many competitions outside. So pick an area where you feel like, you are strong and you can, get some recognitions, then go for it. Just participation in the competitions is not going to count. Okay, so remember that just participating and not winning, getting placed, um, at least in some level, otherwise it's not going to help. You cannot report it. Um, Things like math competitions like AMC, millions of students take, but what can be reported is only if you are ranked as an honor roll or distinction honor roll, you're invited to the AIM or the USA Math Olympiad, so as invitational, only those things can be reported. So keep that in mind. Just participating in competitions will not help. So you need to pick your battle again. Okay. Then academic scholarships, if you can apply for scholarships, and because those scholarships have some criteria that you need to meet, so you can look for many, even local businesses and elsewhere, they do offer scholarships. You can build on that. And research presentations at a conference, if your presentation has been selected to present, then it shows that you have reached a certain level. So participation like in the research conferences, or like even being invited in the AIM or invitational only, because you had to be pre-selected, right? So you went through a competition and only a certain percentage are invited. That shows that you have reached a certain point, and that by itself is a recognition. So those things can be reported. So again, local things like honor societies, honor rolls are common awards. Every school has that. So remember, if you don't have anything to report, then you report the local. But you do have five fields, right, in the application that will allow you to enter up to five academic awards. So again, choose your battle wisely where you could gain recognitions. So going on to, are the standardized tests important? You can see many colleges are now going away. So there's a growing trend now to make test optional. So right now there are 1900 colleges who have gone test optional. So there are plenty of colleges who are, they are looking at the entire application and not just, okay, what was your SAT or ACT score? Okay, so fairtest.org is an organization, non-profit, that is maintaining this list of all the colleges. If you have certain colleges in mind, go and check on their website itself directly. Okay, so what are the terminologies that you'll hear here in this criteria here? Standardized testing is test optional. So what does test optional mean? That means that you're not going to be penalized if you're not submitting a standardized test score. Your whole application is going to be looked at. Okay, so with or without the test score, you will be considered even for merit scholarships. So keep that in mind. Okay, so, but if you have an impressive score, see, that is very important. Your score must be impressive for that college. Only then they will consider that, right? So, what is impressive for a college? You can look into, what at what level they want. For some colleges, 1490 might be impressive. Some colleges, 1590 might be impressive. Okay, so you need to look into what is impressive for that college. If your score is not impressive, then there is no point in even submitting that. It's not going to add any additional value. So what does test blind mean? That is, they will simply not look at it at all for admission selections process. Okay, even if they are submitted, they will not look at it. It's not a consideration for admissions. Some colleges call text flexible. That means if you have met a certain qualifying GPA, then they would say for those students, they will not look at it. So you can look into your college. Are they test optional? Are they test blind? Are they text flexible? Or is the standardized testing mandatory? So you can look at that per college of your interest. No matter what, right? Whether you're submitting SAT or not, they look at the your entire application holistically. To stand out, you must focus on all aspects of the application and not just the school GPA. There are so many other factors there. Okay, so with the test scores not that important nowadays, the other areas of the application are becoming more important, such as the college courses taken while in high school, and your math, calculus is carrying more weight now. So you can see that when admissions officers were asked, out of all the math, what type of math carries more weight, and you can see that calculus, 75% of the admissions officers said a calculus carries more weight than statistics, only 38%. So it depends upon, some students skip calculus levels to take statistics, but you need to be very strong in calculus, because once you get into college, then calculus is going to play a very important role, and it will go at a faster pace, right? So you should be able to catch up and succeed there, thrive in college as well. So ensure that you have a really strong foundation before you go into skipping math levels. So math level skipping is not what they're actually looking for, but they're looking for how you're demonstrating, your strengths. So keep that in mind, when you're choosing. And statistics is not like required for all types. If you're going into the fields where you have to crunch numbers and analyze those numbers, and you're aiming for those type of fields, then you can say that yes, I need statistics knowledge ahead. But remember, you can take these things in college. You're going to college to study, so they're not looking for did you all pre-study and come to college. Okay, so all of these things we saw only constitutes academic excellence. Okay, now let's look into what is intellectual vitality. So intellectual vitality is if you have a genuine interest in something, then how did you go about expanding your intellectual horizons in that um, area of interest? Okay, so you should have some interest in something, and then you should be able to, that curiosity should drive you to go deep in an area. So have you demonstrated that curiosity? Have you demonstrated the enthusiasm to learn? Did you put in the energy and the commitment to learn? So, and then how do you seek opportunities to learn? It's not always in a structured in classroom opportunities. Learning happens everywhere. And if you are genuinely interested about something, then you will be able to learn through so many different ways. So, what was that pathway for you? Demonstrate that. Okay. So, that is, in essence, intellectual vitality demonstration. Okay. So, why this is becoming more important? If you want to stand out, this is the area that you need to build on. So, intellectual vitality, if you look into, for example, any subject pathways at school, right? Like, for example, math pathways. So the education system, they have already put this pathway. So you study algebra 1, then 2, then geometry, then you learn trigonometry, calculus. Somebody in the education system put this pathway, right? You did not put that pathway. But if you had a genuine interest in an area, then you have to create that pathway. How do you go about studying? So what do you study now? What do you study next? And what would be in the future? How do you want to go about it? That demonstration is what we are looking for here. Okay, are you able to create a pathway? One of the reasons why they are trying to look at that is if you go to a college, right? So you will be able to enroll in any subject you want, right? Within the school, or what the catalog is open for you. So you have to go and enroll. Nobody is like hand holding you and saying, enroll in this and enroll in that, like how you were guided in school, high school. So are you capable of choosing the right subjects that you want? Otherwise, you will end up wasting time. Okay. And so you need to, are you able to choose your own pathway for acquiring knowledge? And then there are other opportunities. It's not just sitting down in the classroom and learning. So there are so many other things that are happening. Are you able to take advantage of all of those opportunities? So creating your own learning pathway, the knowledge acquisition. Are you thirsty to learn more, to expand your intellectual knowledge in certain areas? Then you need to demonstrate that. That is what intellectual vitality means. Okay, so intellectual vitality, if it is driven by curiosity and passion, then it has a very strong case. Okay, instead of others telling you my parents asked me to explore this area, is not as impressive as having your own curiosity and passion. Okay. So when you have your own curiosity and passion, and if you can combine your interests and skills and talents into it, that is when it becomes a very powerful story that you can share. Okay. So when you are taking and curious about a topic and you want to go deep, then you will figure out how can you build that knowledge inside of classroom and outside of classroom. So, if you want some structured programs first to gain how to get started, then there are other courseworks and other things, like other even not for credit opportunities are there, education preparation programs or career development. So many other opportunities are there that you could get started with. But the best way is have something self-directed project, right? So you're curious about something, you want to go deep into it, you create your own project and pathway. So when you have a self-directed path in a project, then it will guide, you will be able to say, I need to learn this, I need to learn this. You will be able to put that pathway for you easily. Okay. The other thing is, if you're curious about something, then you want to dive deep into that. And research is one way where you can dive deep into it. Again, all of these things must be driven by your curiosity. If you don't have curiosity and if you say, I want to take this major, so do you have a research opportunity in that major? That is the wrong approach. Okay. Do you have a curiosity to know about something that is happening around you in the real world? Now, do you want to go deep into it? And within that, if you identify, can technology even have a play in it? And then you want to do research when it is, for example, I get many things. Do you have research opportunity in computer science? Right? So that is the wrong way to approach a research opportunity. You should start with curiosity and passion for a real world scenario or something that is happening, and then you want to go deep into it. And then, within that, what are all the causes and factors, and is technology a piece of it, or is some other area a piece of it? Then how do I learn that? How do I understand that more in depth? That is the approach you should take when it comes to research, and not going backwards like, I want to get into this major, do you have a research opportunity in that? That is not the right approach. And then there are other ways where you can learn outside of school is by shadowing, professionals, by taking other internships in those areas. So there are so many other ways that you can gain that experiential learning as well. Okay, so can see here again, there are so many different ways you can go about gaining this intellectual vitality. And I will now dive more deeper into the research as well. So all research, the word research is too broad. Okay, so there are different types of research. Not all research are the same. So some of the types I'm going to cover here, like there's a fundamental research type. So in this type of research, the go here, what you're trying to do is you want to learn how things work. You're not trying to find, how to make it better. You just want to understand it. So this is the type of common research that usually you do at school. Okay, so you want to understand something in depth where they do like a literature analysis or something. So you just understand something more in depth and then you write about it, right? So that is called fundamental research. Descriptive research is another type. So in this type, you're describing the characteristics or phenomena of something, right? So you go deep into it. So in order to understand some characteristic or phenomena, like you can take surveys, you can do historical research, you will do content analysis. This is where qualitative and quantitative research comes into play, where you're crunching all of this data that you have collected in order to be able to describe a characteristic or phenomena that is happening in an area. Okay, so that is descriptive research, and most of the data analysis, is comes under this descriptive research category as okay. So associational research here in this research, again, from the term you can see association, you're trying to find the relationship between two or more variables here. So correlation or the causal effects, comparative, what are the causes here for a particular scenario, and how does it compare with each other? So you're trying to understand the relationship between two or more variables. Then applied research. So this type of research is where you are trying to identify solutions for a specific problem. And this type of research is more common with the business and engineering, where you're trying to, this research is focused on identifying solutions for the problem. So applied research. So the engineering, how it can be help to solve something. Okay, so this is very common in the business and engineering fields. So I want to, again, in a quantitative method with the process of collecting data and analyzing data, it kind of goes across all of these above, types of research. So you can see that you can get started whatever your strength is in any of this research, type research. So the other categories where intervention research, you can see here, you're going to, it is like, this is where you try to do the experimentation and find the effectiveness of something, or an intervention, or effectiveness of a treatment. So those kind of things, you do need a larger, like experimentation equipment, lab access for that. The other higher level of research is discovery research and invention research. So discovery is things exist, like things exist in nature, but nobody understood it, and you are able to explain it. So this is you're discovering something that has not yet been recognized or understood. So though these are hard, discovery research and invention research, where you're creating something new, unique, that has never existed before. So as you can see, the top row is comparatively easier, a type of research, because the materials are there, you're comparing, you're trying to find an analysis and report about that. And the bottom research types are harder, and the discovery and research, invention research, are very hard. Okay, so it's up to you. Are you capable of doing a discovery? Are you capable of creating an invention? Then go for it, right? So where I mentor students is in this area. So you can see all research types are not the same. So I love to help students, to help with making how the methodology, how to make a discovery, how can you use that discovery, can create a brand new novel solution that has never existed before. So you can see that all research does not carry the same weight. Okay, so what type of research? It's not like I did research, it's a checkbox. I'm done with the, for the college application, it's good. So it doesn't work that way. Okay. So the difference between excellent and mediocre research, let's look at that. Some research experiences are definitely better than others. Okay. So you can see from the colleges, what they say, the only type of research that impresses them, right, is unless they show it is sincere and they're committed to research done for its own sake and not simply to aid the applicant's competitive status. Okay, so you should have a genuine interest to learn something. That is why I mentioned earlier, research interest must be driven by curiosity and passion. It's not like I want to get into this major. So do you have a research opportunity in that? It does not work that way. It is not impressive. You might have done that research and you might be entering that, but was it really impressive for the admissions officers? Okay. So if you are trying to impress and stand out, then you need to approach research in the proper manner. So how do you tell if a research is impressive? The student should demonstrate that the research was part of their intellectual curiosity. And see, if you have understood something in depth with your research experience, then you will continue with that. It's not like, okay, I did that, check, I finished. Now, what else can I do? Completely different. No, see, if you were passionate about something, intellectual curiosity, then that should force you, should inspire you, self motivate you to continue and take even other actions to apply that knowledge and skill. So what did you do now? Now you understood something about, what is happening around you. What did you do with that? Now you understood it. So it's not like I did research, check. Okay, don't treat research like that. That does not make it impressive. So, how the other way to tell if a research is impressive is if you have a plan to continue the research in college or afterward, is another indication that shows that, you really like doing research. It's not like I did this research. Is there another opportunity? I'll do that research. Oh, is there another opportunity to do this research? That kind of continuation is not very impressive. Okay, let's say that. See, if you really like about something, there's absolutely no way you could go extremely deep in high school or in the first year. Research, going deep into an area takes several years. Okay, so you can get started in high school, okay, in an area. But if you are really passionate about it, you will be continuing in that same area. You will not be, okay, I did research in that. Okay, check, next, next, next. That kind of continuation is not what they are looking for. Okay, a plan to continue the research. If you are curious about something, go deeper and deeper and deeper, and that could take a lifetime, really. So how could you possibly finish it all in high school and say that I'm done with that, let me move on? You cannot be done if you're really curious and you really want to go deep into something. A month or two just spent with a mentor just to be able to say I did research was done is not helpful at all. Okay, so and remember, the subject of your research matters less than the quality. So for example, if you want to go into a medical field, you can do research in humanities. Okay, so it is not the subject they are looking for in high school level or even later. Are you curious about something? Show your interest, mental ability to learn more about that in depth. Okay, and what was that step you took to learn that? That is what they're looking for, that quality, and not the subject of that research. So the difference between, again, the excellent and mediocre research, here are some ways that can help you is, if you think that, the word research itself, people imagine that, you're in a lab wearing this white coat with all these test tubes. That is only a very, very narrow slice of what research experience is. Okay, working in the lab. So that itself is not going to make it impressive. It is a narrow slice. It could be one of the research, as you can see in the intervention type of research, where you're looking to find out if some treatment benefits or some, like that, then those things are good. But if you're only looking for opportunities where there is a lab and expensive equipments, then remember that is only a very small slice. Okay. So, high school or undergraduate research opportunities extend across disciplines. So, it takes many forms, and it is, regardless of the major. As I said, a pre-med student can do research in humanities and still get into medical school. Okay. So they prefer that to show, can you go really deep into it? Do you care? Okay. So don't think that only if you have access to expensive equipments, then that looks impressive. It does not. Okay. So such work helps, when you go deep into something because you want to know about that with your curiosity, it really helps build a lot of skills that the future, employers want. So here I'm putting a quote from the Dean of Undergraduate Research Opportunities at Stanford. So, so his perspective about research is the undergraduate research, really helps students mature as thinkers and doers. See, you need to understand it. You need to show how you're thinking. Your thinking should reflect in your writing, in your research article, or in your essays. How did it help? How did you go about building that knowledge? And doers. So if you have went deep into, if you did research in about a real world issue, and you went so deep into it that you understand so much about it, then you will feel compelled to take action in some of those areas. So you should be able to do something about it. That's what I meant by it should be followed by other actions too. What did you do about it? So the other thing is, many different kinds of careers are going to present students with challenges that don't have obvious answers. Okay, so what we are looking for is, that is what true research is, right? Research is, you found an interesting question, but you really don't know what the answer is going to be. So then you go finding that answer. Your search, how do you go about finding that answer? That is what true research actually means. And that skill, if you can demonstrate, that is what makes you stand out. Okay. So you can see, just going in groups and doing research, is not that impressive. What they are looking for is, research carries a lot of weight, unless, as I showed you, not a mediocre research, but if it is an excellent research, then it carries weight. And you can, submit that. You can get additional recommendation from the research mentor and submit it as well. So like colleges like Harvard, they only want primary author. They don't like group works. So this is something that many people do is, and there are many other places where they're doing like group. They take like 10 or more students and they put them in one thing. They all like co-author. It does not really help. It just becomes like a checkbox. So, what was your contribution in that? How are you going to talk? And what was your curiosity? As I said, one more point I'd like to make here is, choosing your own topic matters in research, right? So, if you are going to research where a mentor has already chosen a topic and you're just joining that, then you gain some experience, but the weight is not the same as that you were curious and you choose a topic to do research on. That carries more weight in your application. Okay. So do you want to build some skill? Yes. You can go and work for somebody else in existing research, and somebody else has chosen. Yes, it can build some skills, but it only builds some skills. Okay. It's not, is that impressive skill that it was going to make you stand out? Okay. So you have to think about it. So where you can really stand out is if you are capable of choosing your own topic based out of your own curiosity. So that matters. So yeah, research mentors, can give additional recommendation into your college application as well. A quick overview here, I do teach, as I said, the type of research I teach about discovery research and invention research, okay? That is the type is covered in the Emerging Innovators Research Program. It is a very interdisciplinary research, because anything somebody discovers, it can go across many fields, and also real world problems are not confined to a subject line. There will be a component of technology, there would be a component of biology, there would be a component of math, there could be component of chemistry, so many different subjects would come. There could be a component about humanities. You need to understand the need, right? So all of these things should come together. So it is a very interdisciplinary research, where you will be learning how to convert discoveries to applied science and then use that to solve a real world problem. So it is an opportunity to have your own eureka moment. Okay, so you made a novel insight or discovery. So it is for high school, college students, and even professionals. It is this methodology, because even professionals, they need to come up with the new ideas. So again, you learn new techniques to make discovery. When you make a new discovery, create new ideas, you will see how to use that to develop new solutions to real world problems. So that is the process. And on the right, you can see the workflow. It's quite detailed. Okay, so there are many phases in this. You have to, from the school or even college, college level, they do start or do a lot more analytical thinking, but high school students don't have much of an analytical thinking skills. So for high school students, analytical thinking course is a prerequisite to get into the research coursework. So they will learn the methodologies in the research coursework. These two levels, the first, the prerequisite, and the research coursework, is an on-demand, and it's asynchronous, but it's for high schoolers, it will be graded and they will get feedback and grades. So that will be the prerequisite or a selection process for me to work one-on-one mentoring, where now you apply these new techniques that you have learned to create new discoveries and create the solution. And when they are able to complete that fully, along the way they're documenting everything, and then it goes into this Emerging Innovators online science publication, which is only focused on novel solutions. Okay, so it is a very new approach, a revolutionary journal where not anything can be published. Okay, it has to be a new idea and it must be scientifically correct. So that is why it is very unique here. There are many journals, they will publish all sorts of things, then your publication gets buried in one of those. If you think that publication is just like a checkbox, then you would go for that. But if you have a new discovery and if you have a new invention, you want that to stand out and you want to write about that. So these are the opportunities. And if you want more details, all the details about this is on the website. So you can go to children'sinnovationcenter.org and you can find more information about that. So coming back to the college, other area, extracurricular activities, what type of extracurricular activities matters. So here in the extracurricular activities, it is not the number of activities. It is, are you showing a depth? Do you have a reason why you want to do it? And so you need to be able to demonstrate some of your personal qualities and build some skills that you really want to build. And does your talent, come into play there? So choose those type of activities. Can you take initiative? Are you showing originality? Many opportunities that exist, right? It could become more like a stereotypical opportunities, but If you try to give your originality and you try to make some changes within that, you can change a stereotypical activity in something to something unique as well. So remember, just doing something stereotypical because everybody is doing is not going to by itself add weight. So you have to see what you could contribute differently in that opportunity as well. Extracurricular activities, all parts of the applications are verified by audit process. So when you submit all the extracurricular activities and the awards and in all these things, or even you write things in the essay, you could get audited, and the admissions officers, they could ask for proof. And in that, when they're asking for proof, they will say what are accepted proof. Okay, so it's not like you can write anything in the application. So nowadays they are increasing, the verification is increasing. So it is better if you have the proof ready, like certificates or proofs, those kind of things. But they do want, like the letter from certain people, like a teacher or something, in their letterhead. Okay, school letterhead, like that. So it should go directly into the college application and not through you. And so those kind of proof, will be requested. So there are a couple of ways where you could get audited. They do randomly pick any parts of the application, from the essays to in academic history to extracurricular activities. Anything you report, they could pick some things and say, show us the proof. Okay, so be truthful whenever you're writing the thing. And the other in your application, right? So the other way you could get audited is if you trigger a doubt. So if they doubt something that you have written, they could audit, put you under audit as well. So the triggering doubt can be totally avoided if you are truthful. Randomly getting selected for audit, then you don't have any control. You could be randomly picked for audit. In that case, you don't have to panic. If you were truthful, you can just submit the proof as they requested. So in the application, this is the Common App application. You can see if you use this pull down this field, these are the things that you will see listed in that. So these are the type of activities. Again, it is what you did within that activities matter. It is not you were in a robotics team, so magically it is going to add weight. No. What was your position within that? What did you do? See, they do know, high schoolers, when they start these clubs and or they start organizations, they give all fancy titles for themselves, right? So the titles don't really matter. What matters more, of course, you can give, say you're an officer in a club, right? But then you have to follow that up with what exactly did you do as an officer? If you put a leadership title there and you gained a leadership recognition, then what exactly did you do? That is what matters. They're going to look for. So describe that. What did you do? Okay, what did you accomplish? Did you get recognitions for that? Those things matter. So there were some questions about sports and is it worth it, and also student athletes. If you are looking into scholarships based on that category as an athlete, then only remember that only 2% of the students who are applying in this category get some kind of scholarships, let alone getting a full ride. So it is hard, okay, to get a scholarship based on the student athlete category. Okay, so there are 3 divisions. So division 1, 2, and 3. Division 3 schools are not supposed to offer scholarships. They're not allowed. So division 1 and 2, they do offer, they are more prestigious, and it is very hard. to get into those. Do not go with any sports recruiting services saying that we'll get you a scholarship. Again, understand there are so many scams happening. Don't fall into those things. It is hard. Okay, so even those students who are submitting the application, asking for a scholarship in the sports category, they still need to fill up the rest of the application just like anybody else. So the holistic application, the academics, other, the intellectual vitality, all of those things still matter, even for a sports category if you're asking for scholarships in that. So the rest of the application is still the same. So keep that in mind if you're considering sports. Do you think that you would fall under the top 2% in the nation? Right? Think about that. So there is an alert from the Federal Trade Commission about scholarship scams. So be aware, nobody can guarantee scholarships. Don't pay money to get money, scholarships. So be very careful. Nobody can guarantee scholarships. And if you are trying to go with such organizations, you have to really, remember there could be scams. Okay, so be very careful. Don't become a victim. So there were a lot of questions about a gap year as well. So I want to cover what is a gap year and what really means. If you understand that, then you will be able to see if that is something for you or not. Okay, so gap year is a semester or a year of experiential learning. So that is very important. Not going to another college and learning, or community college and learning, going into that like that. It is not that type of learning at all. Okay, it is not improving your GPA kind of thing, but it's experiential learning. Okay, so students do take a gap year before joining college, or it could be even in between college. They while they are in college also they opt for a gap year if they are not sure and they're not committed to a major or career path. Then they want to take a gap year. So what is the process for the gap year, right? Can you take a gap year before applying to college? No. Okay, so it is not like I take a gap year, I'm not going to apply for colleges 1 year, after that I'm going to apply. So that is not called a gap year. You will still be applying as a freshman at that point. Okay, and your entire 12th grade marks will be visible up front there as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. So what is a gap year? It is nothing but deferring your admission. That means you need to first apply. You don't divulge that you're planning to take a gap year upfront in your application. You will just apply as ordinary. You will get the admission. And once you get the admission, you have to accept it, pay the deposit. Then only you can ask for a gap year after you have paid the deposit. Keep that in mind. Okay, so there are organizations like gapyearassociation.org where there a lot of numerous programs are listed. They maintain a list where you can choose. It will give you an idea when you want to put a plan together. So once you put a plan together, then you will submit that plan to your college after again accepting the offer only, so that your seat is guaranteed when you come back. Okay, so if they approve that, if they reject that, then you cannot go if they reject your plan. But if they approve your plan, that is when you can proceed to take your gap year. Your seat will be reserved when you come back. So that is what gap year means. It is not taking off, not applying for college, taking off a year, trying to pull your GPA or something, attend college and then come back. That is not called gap year. Okay, I hope this clarifies what a gap year is. So in the admissions process, you can see how the selectivity goes. The academic profile forms the base. Your non-academic profile, and both of these, academic and non-academic, that makes you really unique is your intellectual vitality portion. So keep that in mind. That is the key for to go higher. Okay, so the recommendation letters and your essays will help you stand out. So how do you start? When do you start? The sooner you start, it is the better. Ideally, like, in eighth grade is good. The earlier you start, because you can see it is not just academics. Do you have a curiosity? Do you have a passion? Can you first understand, is that passion something that you can sustain and continue for a long time? See, because what they're looking for is sustained interest, right? Not like, I tried this. No, I tried this. So don't appear like you're going to be a jack of all trades and master of none. Okay. So in order to figure that out, it is kind of hard if you're starting late. So if you start ahead, then it gives you some time to figure these things out. And by the time you're in high school, it'll give you an opportunity to go more deeper into the areas of your curiosity and passion. Okay. So that is why starting early is good. It is not just academics. So understand that. And again, it is not the number of activities. Do those activities make sense for you? It might make sense for other person. This is why you cannot follow somebody else's checklist. Okay, because no two students can be the same. They cannot have the same curiosity, so they cannot have the same passion and drive, or they look at a certain thing with the same perspective. Even two people within the same family cannot agree on the same things, right? They don't look at the same thing the same way. Each of us, we are different. So there is no way you can take somebody else's checklist and then you try to think that that will help you stand out or get admission. So you look for your path and your curiosity. Okay. So it is not a bad thing to not know what is the actual field you're going to, but you have to start the journey and start exploring. Okay. So keep that in mind. So remember, college is just one step in the journey and not the destination. If you are thinking, I need to get into that college, then those students, after they get in, they are like, I don't know what to do next, because nobody is hand holding them beyond that. So remember, if you think about building your own strengths, your passion, and your knowledge acquisition pathway, and then you are ready to go college and beyond, you can see which college can help you in that pathway. Instead of you trying to fit yourself for a college, you can pick and choose which college will fit in your needs, right? So that is how it should be. And focus on the holistic student profile. It is not just one area GPA. Okay, so it should help you to prepare for college and beyond. And don't compare your path to anybody else's. Be bold and choose your own path and be strong enough to follow that path that you create. Okay, so with that, I'd like to open it up for Q&A.
Yeah, one question I wanted to ask was when you're talking about performing like useful or excellent research, does institution matter? Like which institution that you're performing research with?
No, it does not matter.
Got it.
So institute what carries really weight is, why you're doing it.
Right.
Do you have a reason to do it, and how deep have you gone in it?
I had a quick question.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a quick question in regards to the AP courses that you mentioned. So my son is interested in medicine, medical side, and you mentioned four courses or 5 courses should be good, at least if they are focused on that path. And you also spoke about math being really important, like calculus and all. He is looking into like psychology and all of it. So I'm just trying to see for medicine, what AP courses would matter most for him.
Okay, one thing about AP courses is all courses carry the same weight Okay.
Mhm.
But medicine, obviously, in a biology, chemistry, all sciences are important for anything, and even math. Calculus is needed even for medicine. So obviously, in a biology and chemistry is in absolutely essential for a medical field, because you will then say that why you're taking that subject, right? Because you're demonstrating that through other areas in the application. This just shows, proves that yes, you are interested in that path and you are doing well, and you're taking on this challenge and doing well. So you're building that interest.
Got it. Okay, cool. Since I'm on questions, one quick question.
Okay.
My son is into water polo, like he has been playing that since 4 years now, but he hasn't won any awards or participated in a competition per se. But for him, that doesn't matter. It's just continuation
Mhm.
and learn and getting better. Does that account for it, or you always have to participate and win awards to make a story for yourself?
No, see, there are some not all activities, you can be a winner. So that is why they have limited number of recognitions that you can add. So some activities you would have strength, you will become a winner, but some could be just for it's so meaningful for you. It makes you peaceful. It relaxes you. So there could be some other reason. So there are things like the skills needed for that activity. He should know why he is doing it. What does that activity, if he is putting time into some activity regularly, that means there's some meaning for that for him,
Mhm.
right? So explain that.
Got it. Thank you so
Okay,
much. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
What could be a meaningful pathway for somebody trying to pursue a career in business? Like what sort of APs or what should they look for? What could be the highest or biggest three things?
So the biggest thing is, as I said, intellectual vitality. If you're really looking for highly selective colleges, you need to demonstrate your intellectual vitality. That is the key, and that should be driven by the curiosity. If he is interested in business, obviously, that curiosity, as I said, there is a category colleges attended while in high school, which is carrying a higher weight than just piling up on the APs, right? So APs in the business line, what you can go maximum is economics courses they have, the micro macroeconomics. But then there are other aspects of business. If he is really interested in want to pursue, create a self-directed project to address a real world issue. Now, to address that, what are the things he needs? See, business is nothing but you're solving something, and you're creating solutions, right? You can either make it profitable or non-profit. So how do you match in order to do that? What are the other areas and where he needs to learn? That is when you will start. I need to learn, say for example, I need to learn about this particular area I'm trying to address. Then you will choose a subject. If you don't know, find other ways of gaining that knowledge, including college courses you can add on. For example, if you built a solution but you don't know how to market it, then it's good to take a marketing course. It should all align. Just taking a course and not doing anything with it does not help right now at this point, because they're looking for demonstration as well. So you take a course where you can take that knowledge and immediately demonstrate, and that demonstration can happen if you create a self-directed project.
I have one question relating to the research topic that can be picked. So these kids are starting the journey. My daughter is going to ninth standard this year.
Mhm, mhm.
And how would we come up with a problem that is worth pursuing like many years, like what you mentioned? So, what are the steps that we should do to identify that problem space? Is there any help that we can get regarding that?
Yeah, so that again is that's a lot more in the parenting. I did a recent presentation. Maybe we can share that with you. So it's about how you can do at a younger age to build that awareness about what is happening. So that is something, you need to constantly have discussions and be aware of what's happening in your world, right? So then you can develop a passion for some cause that where you feel like you can provide an impact. So many students don't have this overview of all the areas. So in the research coursework, which is on demand coursework, right? So in that, I'm introducing a lot of industry verticals. See, science goes across every vertical there is, right? So it is not in one area. So the same, how did they make a discovery? What did this industry ask? How did that discovery go across various industry verticals? I try to share various things to expand their awareness that, hey, there are so many industries they could contribute. It's not just one narrow area. So it is just exposure. So you need to come forward and look for that exposure and what will give you more exposure. Even
Hi, I have
things
a
like
question.
watching documentaries and news and having a discussion with the children, even those things help.
I
Thank
had a
you.
question.
Hi, I also had a quick question. So, you were talking about quantifying your research and really making something out of it and driving it beyond just public, 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 public creating your research.
Mhm.
So I would just love if you could elaborate a little more on how you can make something more out of this research. Thank you so much.
Okay. So as I said, if you choose a real world issue, in a real world issue could have so many, because you will start off with a very broad superficial and observation of that issue, right? So then when you go deeper and deeper into that, you will be able to see what perspective you are looking at that issue and in what direction you're going deeper. There is no two people can go in that same perspective. So remember that. So you will be going deeper to understand that, and you will be understanding all the causes. So for each cause, there could be like a 10 or 20 different factors that is causing that. You cannot create one solution that will completely solve it all. So you might be able to create, for example, if it is a technology, I'm just taking technology, not limiting only to that. If you're creating a technology solution to address one factor, for a cause, again, I said there could be 20 different factors, creating that cause. You might create a solution, come up with a solution with that. But then now that you know that there are other factors that may not be addressed with technology, but can be taken actions on in other ways, that is when you will step into the community and take action to address that. So taking actions beyond, in your own way, within your strength, what can you do? So even raising awareness about that, or actually taking action, so you can step in and do more. If you are passionate, all of those things will fall into place. Okay.
I have a question.
I have a question.
Thank you so.
One
Thank
person
you
at
so
a
much.
time.
I have a question in regards to an Eagle Scout project, and your point of intellectual vitality and alignment. Do you find the benefit to have an Eagle Scout project that lines up with what the high school intellectual path has been? And secondly, the research that he does, can that be parlayed into the Eagle Scout project as well as a separate research, like an expansion of that?
I mean, there are no hard set rules here. Okay. So anything you do, right, can be tied to intellectual, your curiosity and vitality, and you want to learn more. Most of the Eagle Scouts projects are like building a chairs and those kind of things, not going really beyond. So if you can take it a step further and stand out and really use that opportunity to create another solution that will benefit the community, then go for it, right? So absolutely yes, you and to if you get into the community and you want to really learn something about it, all the other, as I said, college courses and other courses, you need more knowledge. You're not going to have that. So you have to first learn many areas to be able to understand enough to be able to solve that. And that can all be tied. And if Eagle Scout is one way you want to use that opportunity to give you that force to drive to do that, then yes, go for it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, I had a
I have a
quick question.
question.
So I was interested in your college planning and admissions counseling service, but I saw that most of them were tied to Californian schools. I'm from Texas, so how well would that translate over?
Oh, no. So the thing is, I do have students from out of state as well. Yeah. So
Okay.
California, if you look into it, California is the kind of little different requirements. And the rest of the country is, if you meet California's requirements, you can meet anywhere else in all the requirements. So the application process is slightly different for California versus the rest. But the rest, um, I do have out-of-state students as well.
Okay. And I had a second real quick question.
Mhm.
So how impactful is like getting valedictorian in your school? So is there a better impact if you get valedictorian or salutatorian than getting like fifth or sixth in class rankings?
So usually the valedictorian, they give that at the end of the year, right? So by the time you got admission too. Okay.
Okay, because I
Okay.
was wondering, because our school, they give us preliminary rankings. So they
Yeah,
tell us to submit
ranking
those.
matters. Yeah, ranking matters. The ranking matters, but the title valedictorian comes later. Okay.
Okay.
So
All right.
so by the time the admission is over, so see, when you're looking into the rest of the thing, yes, ranking matters. And as I said, there is your counselor also writes so about you, and they will be able to write why you are different from the rest of your peers in your school. So yes, ranking matters, but the title is not as important as, why you're special, why they're writing you're special, different.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
I have a question.
I have a question.
Research you, because you're discussing about research. And so I wanted to ask whether if someone actually did see, an issue in the school and took an initiative to start a program to solve this issue, how competitive will it be seen to such schools like Stanford or any other top school?
So are you taking action? If you're taking action, then it is good, right?
Yeah.
So you are passionate about something and you're taking action. See, getting into the real world and facing challenges. If you haven't faced a challenge, then you haven't done anything really unique. Okay. So try to step in and see all the challenges that you would face. So you find a problem at a school, like you said, and try to speak about that. You will face a lot of backlash. So then how do you process that? How do you persuade people? So you have to go on and not give up. So you can demonstrate your personal qualities, how your grit, and your how did you go about convincing people, persuasion, and still did you achieve some impact? The process of doing that, when you explain that in your essays, and those things will automatically come out. See, when you have a passion, like when kids do my research, they pretty much write about that everywhere. They speak about that in the interviews. They go on, and that passion automatically reflects. They don't have to prepare or anything. So when you have a passion and you go deep, it will just flow, and it will reflect in other parts of the application.
What if you've done a research on it for almost 2 years now? And you've done with the research report and you've already implemented this program. How could I take the next step to make it better?
Yeah, see, that is all good. So you are processing, and you should see, where you are. You set goals for yourself, right? So this year I've achieved this much. Are you satisfied? Is that issue completely resolved that you took? Or is there more for you to do? So set goals each year and say, okay, this year, because see, you can set goals Like you have to set some goals that you can achieve within a certain time frame to show impact. And when you're doing something, make sure that you are making your teachers and or associate yourself with a non-profit, because as I said, you need proof for everything. Okay. So if they doubt and they ask you for proof, if you get audited, you should be able to, give them the proof. So make sure that there are reputable people who can vouch for your whatever impact you have created, and set goals and continue your work. Continued, that is what they want to look for. It's not like, I start, I stop something, I start, I stop something, okay, I want more. It's not that. It's like, can you show continuity, right? So sustained interest and passion is important.
So I should show it even in my essays that I am willing to complete this.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Another quick question. My school does not offer AP courses, and so am I in disadvantage, or what can I do to kind of make it up for the AP courses?
So that, as I said, the AP courses just offers, one path. Community colleges are available for everybody. So you can look into what you want to learn and build, take advantage of the community colleges, or even, university. There are pre-collegiate courses that you can take to keep advancing.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
I have a question.
So you said that we should start our trying to find our passion as soon as possible, since like the end of 8th and start of 9th. But if you're gonna try clubs and sports, but what if you can't sustain to it or stick to it? Should you still be trying them out, or should you not?
See, the thing is, if it doesn't interest you, you need to change very fast, right? So once you get into high school, you don't have much time left. And remember, 9th grade, I know it is a big shift from middle school to high school. So there's a little bit of, adjustment there, but that is the easiest year. Okay. So 10th and 11th, the importance for academics will increase. So the sooner you find other passions, and you can explore that earlier, you do have an advantage. If you are not able to decide, then you will be putting in time, right? So the same thing happens even in college. People, they get into college and they don't know, they're still wavering which major to come out of, and sometimes they come out of one major and they're still not happy. So the sooner you make up your mind, you are at an advantage. You save time, so you can move faster. Otherwise, you need to put in the time to figure that out. And when do you want to put the time? You start early, or do you want to start later in your life? It's your choice.
Okay. So like how what are some like tips to find your passion more quicker before you start college, so you can pick your major?
See, the thing is, what kind of citizen are you? Take out college for a moment. The passion for the society, the social causes is very important. You need to find the sense of purpose. For that, what things that is happening around you that you feel like you want to be a part of. There are thousands of issues happening right around you. And if you feel like, none of those things, I don't want to get involved, and you're trying to see if somewhere far, then, you're not looking hard enough. So you have to open your eyes, be aware of your surrounding, and find that sense of purpose earlier. So this is something that, that really from young, even from elementary school, that volunteering. This is why schools, they did make some schools make it mandatory to volunteer, so that you can go figure out that passion in your community, go spend some time. But then people are using that just for community service hours. So then it does not help. You should use that opportunity to serve the community as an opportunity to find out if you have a sense of purpose, or you want to contribute. What kind of citizen are you going to be? What kind of person are you going to grow up into? So that thing is not just coming out of sitting down and taking a test. So be involved in the community, volunteer, and go see what is out there in the community and find out that passion for you. Then you will see, where you want to go deep and what you want to solve. Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Question about, the research pathway. So once you figure out like what topic you want to delve deeper into and figure out like what you want to research about, what are the next steps you recommend? Like who do you think we should reach out to? Should we like, email professors or join research programs? Like what are the next steps after figuring out the topic?
So figuring out the topic itself, we need to, pause and think. So far when kids come, the topics they just start with is very, very superficial, and with that kind of superficial, oh, I picked this topic, is not going to help you to go deeper. Okay. So first understand the issue itself, and say why you want to go deep in that, and what within that, in what perspective you're looking at that issue, and what do you think are the causes, and what cause within that you think you want to look into. Then only you can even find a professor who's working in that area. Okay. So you cannot say, oh, I want to solve this. It will be like very, 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 vague and broad. So that kind of picking a topic is not going to help. So take the time when you say, you have chosen a topic, really, can you really pinpoint exactly? Once you have that, then you find people who are in that area, reach out to them or programs and see, if they can help. Otherwise, if you go start with, okay, I'm not going to help you go deep into that, because right now many students are, give me the answer, give me the answer. But what research is all about is, you have a question, you need to find that answer, and the mentor is going to guide you to find that answer, not hand out the answer to you. Okay. So if you're handed out the answer, then that does not look good.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question actually. You just briefly talked about like volunteer and like how a lot of people, they find issues in their communities and they volunteer, but like they're just doing it for the hours and they're not really making an impact. How do we get our research to align with our volunteer work?
Oh, plenty. There are plenty of ways. So when you're volunteering in the community, you will see that, and if that cause or mission really, is meaningful to you, then as I said, you will find what are all the areas that, understand people's need, and go and understand the problem and go deep into that. That is what research is. And then figuring out what are the factors and how you can solve it based on your strengths and talents will then fall into play. So if you want to, then, in along the way, if you don't know, how to go about, I have gone very deep, but I don't know, then that is where there are courses. Like my research coursework, gives you that techniques, a broad understanding of the new techniques, how to make discoveries, how to ask questions, how do you go about formulating that question too is very important. If you don't have a proper question, you cannot solve anything. Coming up with the right question, unique question, is itself a skill. If we don't have that skill, then it's very hard to really achieve something later. So build your knowledge. Build your knowledge. There are other opportunities that help with building that skills that will help you formulate, ask, go deep and ask, the right questions.
Thank you so much.
Shanti, you touched upon on shadowing while you were going through it. Can you give a little bit more into that?
Yeah. So, if you want to understand something in depth, you shadow or you're looking at some pathway, you can, go follow the, professionals in that field, people who are working in that area, and see what are the skills and, what are they doing. So one thing I want to request students is, when they're shadowing, don't go and interview those people like as if you're going to give a job for them. Okay, so you have to be in the learning mode only. Try to understand what are their skills, how did they how they are using their skills there. Do you see a similarity between their skills and your skills? If you feel like you have a gap, then how do you build certain skills? So that is the mode you should be when you're shadowing, to benefit from that. I have seen some kids will come in, like they ask, like as if they're interviewing, the mentor or the professional people who are, they don't have to even answer those, right? So don't go into that mode, but go into the learning mode to see how do you see yourself if you were there and what you need to gain. So focus on that, and then you can observe and reach out to professional and say, I really am interested in this, and is there even few hours of, or you can ask for mentors. There are many organizations where professionals are coming out and mentoring the students as well. So you can have a mentor, you can shadow, you can go if there's a proper internships, you can go. But in a high school level, there's not much they're going to give hands-on immediately. It's more about what you learned from that is what matters.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So what advice would you give to international students for example, where I live, we don't have, in school, we don't have AP classes or rankings. So am I really at disadvantage for that?
I mean, there are, AP courses, even international students can take. You can check on their college board thing. You can study for it and you can take. So there are many online schools that, they are teaching that you can still, wherever you are in the world, there are, it's possible. Then within your school, anyway, that is just one minor thing, AP courses, right? So within your country, what is the way that you can gain recognitions? Are there any ways that you can challenge yourself? So you can try that even locally, whatever is the way, whatever resources you have. And nowadays with these online options, there are many things that can go across. There are IB schools, where they do offer those challenges, and it is, recognized here. IB courses, are equivalent to the AP courses. So, or there are so many other ways that you can challenge yourself.
I also have another question. Would it be possible if we I could have a mentor virtually? Because where I live, I want to pursue neuroscience, but it really isn't as advanced here, and there aren't any research centers as such here. So how would you suggest I reach out to professors to help me in that?
So you have to reach out, look for, so this is like, I know, you contact, you write to them. There are students who send like 60, 80, emails, and only one or two responses they get. But it's your perseverance. You have to see again, when they're mentoring, they're not, it's a service that if they have the bandwidth, and how many students can they take? You don't know what is their existing workload. So you may not get an opportunity. So you have to keep looking.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I have a question on this. So first of all, thank you so much for this, informative session.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, what's the best way to formalize some of the performing arts related subjects, say for example, Hindustani classical music or dance or those kind of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you make it formal? Say, you just say that, yeah, this is what I'm pursuing, but then if audit comes, then you need to show some proofs, right? So what is the best way to formalize these things?
So if you're learning, say Hindustani, you mentioned Hindustani. So there is a teacher there, right? So there is somebody you're learning from.
Right.
So when there is an audit, that teacher could give a letter directly. Again, you cannot be the middleman, get that letter and send, right? So you ask them permission if they are willing to, and you would give their email address into the when they ask, and they have to submit on their letterhead that whatever level you did or accomplished in that. So that is for auditing. So the other part of your question is, how do you formalize or make this thing matter? It's like why you're doing this, what does it matter to you? Any activity, whether it is arts or any other activity or sports or any activity, you need to tie it into what it matters to you. So there are many people in sports teams, like say for example soccer team, or I'm taking dance or music all my life, but why? What is it helping you? Are those skills that you're getting from that, can it go cross field, right, to something else that you're working on? So what does it matter? Explain that. Otherwise it becomes a stereotypical activity. See, for example, admissions officers, when they're reading, they know the general terminology, what it means, like I'm playing this game or I'm doing this. They know what that generally means, but they don't know what it means for you particularly. So that is what you need to explain. Okay. So what does it mean for you? Why would somebody spend hours in a year doing an activity if it is not meaningful for you?
Got it. So there is no like certificate or anything like that
There are
required.
exams you can, I don't know about Hindustani if there are exams. There are other exams like on the Western side, classical side, there are like instruments and there are exams. I'm not very familiar with the exams on the Eastern in a music. If there are, then those could help, saying that you have progressed certain levels, or your teacher could vouch for it if there is an audit.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I had a question regarding the application, whether to apply early decision or regular for international students seeking full aid at top universities. Because I've heard some of them say it's not advisable to apply early decision, as it's usually students, legacy students, and recruit athletes. So what do you think of it?
I mean, early is demonstrating your interest in that, and early decision. If you are saying that early decision, that means once if they offer, then you have to withdraw from others. It clearly demonstrates your interest, but that alone is not going to carry much weight than the holistic review. So the rest of your application should also be interesting. Okay. So we've gone beyond our time. Okay, 20 minutes beyond our time. So just one or two last questions I will take.
How exactly do I book a one-on-one mentorship appointment with you for research?
Yeah, so that is all on my website. We can follow up. Okay, you can reach me. My contact is here. Okay, so we can follow up on that. So there are prerequisites. As I said before, it comes to the one-on-one mentoring. I do want the students to complete the prerequisite if you're a high schooler, analytical thinking course, and the research coursework. And those things, when it is graded, I will get an idea of when I look at that, how the student is even ready to do discovery. See, I deal with the discovery and invention type research. So that is different. So this completely out of the box thinking is required. So we have to, I have to see if the student is capable based on that. So let's follow that up later.